Morning.
Morning, everybody.
First, thank you so much, Susan, for having us. I'd elaborate on how great you are, but I'm guessing everybody here already knows it, and we don't have time. Mark, also a pleasure to be with you.
A pleasure to be here.
So tell us, what exactly is Revive My Vote, and how will you be successful?
So Revive My Vote is a civil rights reenfranchisement organization that operates in Virginia. And what we do is we help people get their civil rights back after they've been taken away. So our primary demographic is persons with prior felony convictions. Virginia is one of 4 remaining states that permanently disenfranchises people after a felony conviction. So that all changed in 2013 when then Governor McDonald passed an executive order that allowed persons with prior felony convictions to make an end run and get their voting rights back. So what we do is we advocate for the program, we help facilitate the program, we raise awareness of the program, and then we help applicants get through the system. And we've been up and running for a couple of years now, and we've had a good impact, and we're really enjoying ourselves in Virginia.
Talk to us. What does success look like? How many convicted felons are there, and what impact will it have on the electorate?
Sure. So Virginia is a state where about 3.9 million people vote, and there's an extra 350,000 voters in the state, but they can't vote right now. Those 350,000 people are persons with prior felony convictions. These are people now who in Virginia and 46 out of 50 other states couldn't vote, but have not had their rights restored yet. So success is getting all these people through the system so that they can vote and they're not disenfranchised just because of where they live. So really, if you do the numbers, you take that 3.9 million and you add in the 350,000, and that's an estimate. It's a pretty close estimate, but it is an estimate. You add that in and you look at about an 8.25% bump of new electorate coming into the system. So you take that, or if you even use just the general percentage, so Virginia has about 71% of its voters show up in a general election year. If you use just 71% of that, you're still looking at an increase of 6%. So it's a huge increase in injection of electorate into the state of persons who don't have a voting protection anymore. So like Lyndon Johnson once said that a person without a vote is a person without protection. We're trying to make sure that all 350,000 of those people have protection.
Yes, I work on behalf of an organization that represents millennials, so I would agree with Lyndon Johnson's statement there. So tell us how the process works. Let's say I'm a convicted felon, a former convicted felon in Virginia. How do I find you? How do you find us?
Sure. So we go to the people. Like I said, there's 350,000 of these individuals in Virginia, and Virginia doesn't have any laws that require a person with prior felony convictions to report where they live. So it's a difficult approach to get to everyone. You have to find where they are, and you have to locate where people are likely to live. So what we do is we use a modified campaign technique. We use a center of influence outreach approach, and we've changed it over to a center of counsel outreach approach. So what we do is we categorize the number of individuals persons who are leaving incarceration or getting off of parole might go to and look for counsel in a time of need. And then we gauge those, and then we vet that through a piece of mapping software that lets us pick out the most likely census tracts for affected individuals to live in. It's a piece of software that was developed by Blue Tech and the Advancement Project. And what it does is it ranks all 2,200 census tracts in Virginia. So we find the people who are going to be sought after in the areas where we know they're going to be, and those people become our microphones in the community.
So we're really all here to learn about technology and what's unique and different, that you're doing. Can you walk us through that process just a little bit more? And, as a non-tech person myself, I'm trying to up the youth vote in America. How could I use this and apply it to what I'm doing?
Absolutely. So there's 3 pieces of technology that allow us to exist. One is a completely digital workspace. It's completely virtual. That allows us to exist, and then we have this mapping software. The really unique piece of technology, though, is this virtual workspace, and we developed that in-house. And what it does is it allows individuals who are acting as managers to manage a large group of employees as if you had a small group of dedicated employees. So you can convert a large group of volunteers that only have a very limited amount of time into a small group of full-time employees through this system. At the end of the day, it looks like a trading board, and we call it the command center on the inside because that's basically what it does. It's a piece of technology that lets you simultaneously view all of your open files and all of the applicant files. Then after you can simultaneously view all of your files, it ranks all of the files based on the type of applicant that you have and the next step that needs to be taken. Then it displays those based on what type of employee or volunteer that you have at the time that can take that next step. So it allows one manager to manage a large group of people and distribute tasks based on who you have available. So, for example, we are an organization that provides a free service. And to provide a free service, we rely on a lot of volunteer labor. And in order to rely on a lot of volunteer labor, you have a constant stream of people who are changing and coming in and leaving. You can't lose all of your workplace efficiency by constantly training people how to do new tasks. So what you do is you break down your work process into commodities. And when you break down your work process into commodities, those commodities are displayed on your trading board. And when you can look at all of the possible commodities that can be distributed, know your employees, know your volunteers that you have there, one person without any training, because the command center is going to teach you and show you how to do it, can distribute tasks individually so that individuals and large group of employees can work like dedicated employees. So any organization can use this. It's easy to break down a work process. It's easy to break down a work product into a commodity. And after you do that, you plug everything into the system, and someone without much of a budget or a large group of human resources can accomplish something and can become a voice in the arena. We've been up and running for about 2 years. Currently, we've got close to 90 applicants in the file, and we do that with a workforce of about 16 part-time employees.
And do you find the motivation to be the same? You know, are the volunteers continually showing up and things that we would all need if I'm running, you know, an organization that operates with this technology?
Absolutely. So the motivation has to be there, right? I mean, you have to have your volunteers as any cause, whether or not you're running a local election or a federal election. We all rely on a little bit of helpful labor at some point in time.
Campaign here and there.
Exactly. But so the motivation has to be there, and you have to have the people who are coming in. And of course, your efficiency numbers go up the more often that they're there. But the nicest thing about this is that you get, because of the way that the process breaks down, you get the most out of your volunteers or your employees from the time that they're there, whether or not they are fully motivated just like you are, or they're just trying to fill in an hour of their time, because it breaks things down into a task that you know that they can accomplish in that time. So all you need is the motivation to get them through that hour, maybe that they're there, or the 2 hours, or the 3 hours that you can get there. And you're constantly feeding them new tasks to do. So what it does is it lets them creatively develop new processes while they're there and sift through new tasks. So your workforce is always stimulated. They're always working on something new, and they don't need long-term dedication like you do. So you really just need one person. I mean, we've all run an organization or some sort of project or a business before, and you've got people who are more motivated and less motivated. So you then take the higher level of motivation and communicate it through smaller stints through this technology, and you get a massively efficient workforce just for the period that they're there. And that's all you need at the end of the day.
Sounds great. I got to tell you, this sounds like an excellent piece of technology, Mark. I'll say, you know, if I'm ever convicted of a crime in Virginia, you will be my first call when I get out.
Call a lawyer.
No, I think I appreciate my, my vote more than anything else. It's a really important thing to have here. So thank you so much for your time.
Well, thank you.
Thanks. There's a question at the end, right?
Brilliant. Thank you. Very exciting. I think we all know what it's like to have a volunteer workforce, or maybe not all of us, but a lot of us here, that is limited. And it's great to hear about a kind of technology that's not only doing good right now in getting the right to vote back to people who should have it, but that we could potentially use in our organizations to make us stronger and more effective. Let's think about that. Mark is, we didn't mention it, he is a grad student at William and Mary Law School, and he did this as a project at school. So it's quite impressive. He may just change the way we work, and we may be able to do something differently because of him.